Hello, hello. What's up? I am kind of tired today, but I am doing okay. Also, I made the mistake of watching Tom Scott's newest skit before this, and basically all that's in my head right now is just juice that makes your head explode. So there's that. Well. Oh, hey, Evie Master. Good to see you. How you been? Hope you're doing well. I'm just gonna chill her for 10 more minutes before we start the actual gameplay. So, yeah. I've been wondering actually what I wanted to do today because I wasn't too sure. Do I want to play Miitopia? Do I want to continue with the Spirit of Justice DLC? Do I want to play Animal Crossing? Do I want to do something else? I have no idea. But I landed on Spirit of Justice because everything else would require more setup, so I'm too lazy. I'm too lazy to bring my Switch over and connect it again. Sorry, I don't know what to talk about. I'm so sorry. I know I really should, but I'm not very good at that. I guess. Damn, I probably started a bit too early then. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. What can we talk about? I don't fucking know. It's fine. Thank you. I'm gonna go to the optician next Friday. Woohoo! Getting glasses. I was what's not suggested, but it was recommended I do that last time I went to check my eyes. So that's interesting. I've never had glasses before in my life. I've had fake ones. But never actually had any glasses. We've tried getting glasses several times, but the opticians always say that there is nothing glasses can help you with. But apparently some doctor I saw at the hospital told me, no, you really should get glasses. So we're trying again this time, and we're actually gonna really push them for glasses. How strong do they have to be? I have no idea. I don't think they have to be very strong. I'm not even sure what exactly they're supposed to do, if they're what kind of lens it is. I have no idea. I just got told that you should get glasses. And who am I to question that? But I do not think they have to be that strong. How's your day been? Oh, my day has been it's been okay. I mean, I slept for most of the day, but it's been okay. I sit up all night playing Animal Crossing, the new DLC. So it's really been a problem these last few days. Though I actually managed to stop myself earlier this time. But I still stayed up until like 6, 7 a.m. God knows why. I even told myself around 6 a.m. go to bed. This isn't okay. I don't know. I just like sitting up at night, you know. How much did you sleep? Well, I woke up at like, I think 3. So 7 to 15. That's like 8 hours, isn't it? No, wait, can I count? No, hello. No, it's not. What? I can't count. Hold on. The clock kind of fucks me over, especially when it's when it's what exactly? I don't know. When it's like the 24-hour clock, though that's supposed to be easier. Okay, let's say from like 7 to 15. Yeah, no, it is 8 hours. God damn it. Also, lately I've gotten like really into the Pokemon XY anime with a friend, and oh my god, I love it so much, honestly. I love it so much that I literally got like a little keychain figure of my favorite character. I posted it on Twitter, I believe. So now I have like a tiny little gang of small figures in front of me. Very cute. Who is your favorite character? It's Clement. Or as I call him, my citrus child, lemon son. Take your pick, really. I will say, like, watching Pokemon in Japanese hits so differently. I don't know what it is, if it's like the music, because the music is a bit different, especially like the opening and endings and some insert songs. I don't know. And I don't know, I get so much more hype for like, I guess like you could say like bigger scenes when you can actually sing along to the lyrics. Is it better? I would say it is. I started watching the XY anime first in English, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna look for it in Japanese just for fun. And I did, and oh my god, I loved it so much. Also, the Japanese names for some of the Pokemon, they're so hilariously dumb. Like, just, hold on, we have fucking Articuno, Moltres, and Zapdos, which in Japanese, I kid you not, are called Fire, Freezer, and Thunder. And then we have the Evolution, which in Japanese is Eevee. Let's see, hold on, I have a list somewhere. Anyways, Flareon is Booster, which is hilarious, and Vaporeon is Showers, Jolteon is Thunders, Umbreon is Blackie. I love Eevee. Me too. I already liked Eevee, but I love Eevee so much more after the XY and Z anime. because one of the characters get an Eevee there, and it's so precious, honestly, the way it's so shy and just loves to dance. And yeah, some of these names are just really funny, like Thunders, Blackie, Booster, and Showers. Showers. So let's if we think about like the Charmander to I'm just thinking of the Japanese name. Help! My god, what's it fucking called? Charizard. I forgot Charizard. Like if we think about that evolution line in Japanese, it's Hitokage, Lizardo, and then Lizardon. Also, we have. It's weird that they are so different. I know, right? Let's see, where the hell is... There are also... what are they called? Like, I don't remember who they are. Hold on. If we just... Not ghost type. I want the Pokemon ghost. Ghost. I think it's Ghastly and Haunter in Japanese, that are ghost and ghosto. So it's like ghost and ghost with a T. Like, some of these names are just hilariously dumb. Anyways, I've gone off on far too long of a tangent, so let's just get into the game. Ha! Okay, continue. There we go. Turnabout time traveler. Trial time, let's go. Yes, good luck. Thank you so much. So what do you think of my little chat box?
Good morning, Mr. Wright.
Good morning, Ellen. I see you're still wearing your wedding gown.
And I will continue to wear it until our marriage is saved.
Girl, that can't be very, like, feasible. Like, what? Like, that can't be easy. You're still even holding the bouquet. Like, girl. You can wear something else while you're waiting. You don't need to stick around in your marriage gown, or wedding gown, sorry. Though I guess this is a way for the developers to say we don't bother with making her other clothes. Like, no.
Oh, Soren!
There he is.
Do you think he came to see how she's holding up? Soren, my love, you came all the way to the courthouse just to see me? Oh, Soren, I don't know what to say.
Blueprints.
Huh?
The engine blueprints. I can't find them. Do you know where they are?
Oh, they're in your room, third shelf from the bottom, on the right-hand side.
Ah, I see. Okay, thanks, bye. And then we actually left. He's leaving already?
Tell me he came just to ask about some stupid blueprints.
Why is this watch on his chest? It's because steampunk.
Is he really that cold of a person, or is that just how he comes off, I wonder? What about me, Soren?
Ellen. He's back. That's so inconvenient. It's okay. Come home soon. I'm lost without you. Florin! Later.
Looks like showing your vulnerabilities is the fastest way to capturing a woman's heart. You should take notes on this, Nick.
Please leave me out of this. Anyway, it looks like Soren isn't big on words, but it's clear that he cares about Ellen. Knowing that, I actually feel kind of relieved.
Mr. Wright, I just absolutely can't be found guilty, you hear?
Don't worry, I'm going to do everything I can to prove your innocence.
Thank you, Mr. Wright.
The trial is about to start, sir. Edgeworth, knowing him, he's not going to yield an inch. So I've just got to fight with everything I've got and save Ellen. Ellen DeGeneres. Hell yeah.
Court is now in session for the trial of Ellen Wyatt.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor.
Seeing so many familiar faces gathered together like this, I feel as though I am at a grand reunion. It makes me want to go out for dinner and a drink to reminisce with all of you.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea. I was dying for a real burger the whole time I was away.
We could make it a welcome back party for Maya. How about it, Edgeworth? I have no intention of cavorting with my enemies. Now then, Your Honor, let us start this trial at once.
Ho ho! Still not one for light-headed banter, are you, Mr. Edgeworth?
Jokes and good humor are beyond worthless in a court of law.
Guess we'll just have to have the party without him then.
Party pooper, yeah, for real. However, right after the conclusion of this trial, I might consider joining you for your little welcome back party. Oh, that's cute. I certainly wouldn't mind an invite at the very least.
He's still as emotionally constipated as ever, I see.
Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you could please go over the details of this case for us.
The victim was Dumas Gloomsbury, a servant in the Sprocket household. He was in attendance at the wedding reception that occurred from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Mr. Gloomsbury apparently felt some animosity toward Ellen Wyatt, and so, a bit after the reception ended at 10 p.m., he assaulted Miss Wyatt with the intent to kill her. The defendant fought back and ended up killing Mr. Gloomsbury.
In other words, it was justified self-defense, correct? If that's the case, then the defendant might not be criminally responsible.
He's right. Worst case scenario, I could go for self-defense to avoid the criminal charge. I guess that's not how this is gonna work, is it? I wonder how Edgeworth plans to counter that, though. The prosecution's first witness will make my view on the matter clear, Your Honor.
Very well. Bailiff, please bring in the first witness.
Who is it? Who? Emma!
Please state your name and occupation, witness.
Emma Skye, forensic investigator.
And I'd just like to say, sir, that being in the same courtroom as you is a great honor.
Oh, that's right. You're a fan of Edgeworth's, aren't you, Emma?
We're good friends and all, Mr. Wright. But just this once, I intend to faithfully and fully testify for the prosecution. And I do mean that wholeheartedly.
I expect no less from you.
Yes, sir. I'm going to do my very best. Looks like you lost the popularity contest to Mr. Edgeworth, Nick.
I really could care less. Could care less, so you do care. It's couldn't care less. Anyways, besides. She'll see who's the better lawyer once I win this trial.
Yeah, maybe then you'll actually really care less.
Now, Detective Sky, if you please.
The murder weapon was a clock called the Timekeeper. The victim was hit with it from behind, and he fell over right into the lantern. Hold on, wait, it's a clock?
Oh no. Oh no, I just realized it's the fucking clock. Oh no. It's Frank saw it. He's back. He's out of prison.
The defendant was spotted then, standing in front of the body, holding the murder weapon. The victim was struck twice, by the way.
He was struck twice.
That's right. There's no mistake about it. The first blow was to the back of the victim's head. It was hard enough to knock him unconscious. Yet, despite the fact that he had been immobilized by the first blow, the defendant delivered a second, fatal blow to the side of the victim's head.
Ah, so that's why they can't rule self-defense. I see. Which means what exactly? I figured it would go right over your head. Let's put it this way. By striking the victim a second time, the defendant killed her last chance to escape from any criminal wrongdoing.
She did? But how, Mr. Edgeworth?
The defendant may have been fighting back because she was being attacked. However, she then went on to deliver a fatal blow to a man who was already fully unconscious.
Nick, is he saying what I think he is?
I don't feel so well. And thus, Mr. Wright, has justified self-defense been removed from the table. The prosecution intends to prove that the defendant killed the victim with murderous intent. Allow me to belatedly submit the victim's autopsy report. Thank you. Ah! So that's why he was acting all smug. Well, more smug than usual.
It's fine, right? It's not like we were going to plead self-defense anyway, right?
Right, but now the judge has a negative impression of Ellen. He may not get to prosecute much anymore, but he definitely hasn't lost his touch.
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Okay, the murder weapon was a clock. I think I have to just press everything, right? Man, I'm gonna press everything. Are you completely sure the murder weapon was a timekeeper?
Yes, completely. The shape of the injury on the victim's head matches up with that of the timekeeper. And it's definitely heavy enough to kill someone with.
But would the defendant have been able to pick up and swing something so heavy?
I tried it myself and I was able to lift it up just fine.
Maybe you're just freakishly strong?
Excuse me, Mr. Wright? I'll have you know that people on the force know me as a dainty forensic investigator.
Sorry, but really, you're hardly a delicate flower. Mr. Wright, this is a court of law. Save your antics for after the trial, if you know how. Yes, sir. It won't happen again, sir.
Moving on.
The defendant was fighting back against the victim, right? So, wouldn't she have hit him from the front and not from behind?
The victim must have tried to run once Miss Wyatt started fighting back. That's probably when he got hit from behind.
I see. Thus the blow to the back of his head.
The defendant must have looked awfully scary when she was brandishing that clock.
I don't know about that. Regardless of how scary Ellen looked, the victim was definitely hit from behind.
May I go on? Yes, of course, please do. The defendant was spotted then, standing in front of the body, holding the murder weapon. But that's only because she was so panicked when she found the body. That she tried to use the timekeeper to go back in time.
Wow, that's really a good argument in court, isn't it?
Mr. Wright, do you have any idea how absurd you sound? But Miss Wyatt really believed she could travel through time with that clock. You really should have come up with a more credible story, you know.
Yes, I agree.
Me three, but it's all I've got to go on. Anyway, under the circumstances, the only conclusion we can draw is that the defendant killed the victim. The victim was struck twice. Miss Wyatt must have had a chance to escape after she struck the victim the first time. So why would you stick around and hit him with such a heavy object again? Well, about that. Allow me to explain. Why did she strike him again indeed? To finish off the victim, of course. This very act clearly shows that she had every intention of killing Mr. Gloomsbury. Miss Wyatt would never do a thing like that. Let's see some evidence that disproves my theory. Are you going to just stand there and take that from him, Nick? I can't refute his claim head on, so we'll have to approach it from a different angle. Well, it looks like we won't be going anywhere until we can refute Edgeworth's claim. Okay, I see. This is so exciting! We haven't taken on Mr. Edgeworth in ages. Yeah. Okay, Nick. Now go get him! No need to rush me, Maya. Alright, I'd better start by comparing Emma's testimony with the evidence we have, and look for any glaring inconsistencies. Okay, so I'm pretty sure it's this one. And, Ellen saw a suspicious third person. Okay, when Ellen was attacked by Gloomsbury out on the... Out on the Vista deck, she saw in her dazed state a shadowy figure hit Gloomsbury from behind. She fainted immediately afterwards and thus didn't get a good look at whoever it was. Large amounts of dry ice were placed in the fog machine to produce a thick fog during the reception. Damn. I want to say it's this, but like, what does that have to do with anything? Right now, we haven't established a third party. Okay, let's go through each one again. The murder weapon was clock called the timekeeper. Yeah, okay. Nothing about that. The victim was hit with it from behind and he fell over right into the lantern. Right into the lantern. The defendant was spotted then, standing in front of the body, holding the murder weapon. The victim was struck twice. Wait, from the back? But... how could he have been struck from the back twice? The victim's body was found collapsed inside one of the peggable lanterns. Scattered around his body were flower petals, a note, and broken parts of the lantern. The petals were from flowers, not found inside the reception hall.
Objection!
That's not it. Fuck me.
Mr. Wright, would you care to tell this court what percent sure you are of your claim?
Why, of course. I'm 100, well, 90, wait, maybe 80-ish? Would you accept 50%?
Okay, Your Honor. I recommend that the defense be penalized with 100% severity. I intend to, Miss Redgeworth. You can be sure of that. Okay, thank you.
Yes, I can't say I deserved 0% of that.
So I was onto something.
Objection!
It's the second one. Okay.
Detective Sky, I'm afraid I have to apologize in advance. For what?
For embarrassing you in front of your idol.
What do you mean? If you take a look at this photo of the crime scene,
you'll see that the victim is lying on his back. But if the victim had been hit from behind, as you claim, then he should have fallen over into the lantern face down. It's not enough to simply take someone's side, Detective Sky, even if it's Mr. Edgeworth's.
Oh. There does appear to be a flaw in Detective Sky's testimony.
Mr. Wright, if you think I'm going to just back right down, then you're sadly mistaken.
Emma is unusually fired up today.
Don't forget, she's in front of her hero, Nick. If the Steel Samurai came to watch this trial, I'd want to do my absolute best too. Listen, Mr. Wright, it's entirely possible that the defendant moved the victim's body after he fell over. In that case, there wouldn't be any contradiction, right?
Indeed, and that was an excellent counter-argument, Detective.
You can count on me, sir. So, what do you have to say to that, Mr. Wright?
Is it possible that the victim's body was moved after he fell into the lantern? It's not possible. I accidentally read this part, but it's fine. Sorry, Detective, but there's no way the victim's body was moved after his death.
Oh, really? And what makes you so sure?
One look at this here and it should become obvious. This on his chest is on top of him.
Those broken bits of the lantern?
Yes, if the body had been moved after the fact, these fragments would have fallen off of it. But as you can clearly see, they're lying perfectly undisturbed on top of the body. This means that the victim must have been lying face up from before the lantern even broke.
You're right. But wait a minute. If that's true, then when was the victim killed? I mean, the lantern was still whole during the reception, right?
Right, which means we've just overturned a major assumption about this case. If the victim was already dead before the lantern was even broken, then the body must have been inside the lantern since before the reception started. In other words, the defense asserts that the victim was killed before the wedding reception.
What?
In short, when Miss Wyatt was seen standing in front of the body after the reception, it wasn't the moment just after the murder was committed. It was the moment she happened to discover the body, just as Miss Wyatt claims.
Objection!
Get wrecked. Whether the act was committed before or after the reception is entirely inconsequential. After all, it was the defendant who prepared the reception hall for the event in question. Therefore, when the murder occurred, changes nothing with regard to her guilt. She could have killed the victim before the reception, as you claim, and then tried to hide his body in the lantern after the event ended.
Objection!
Sorry, but that doesn't make any sense. I mean, where would the body have been hidden during the reception in your scenario?
That's...
Even you have to admit, Mr. Edgeworth, that this has opened up a new possibility.
Do explain, Mr. Wright.
Well, if Miss White didn't commit the crime in the reception hall, then that means someone, somewhere, put the victim's body into the lantern.
I suppose that makes sense. A dead body couldn't have put itself in there.
Exactly, Your Honor. In other words, if the murder actually occurred before the reception, it opens up the possibility that
He was killed somewhere else?
if the body was hidden inside the lantern, then it's possible that the body was moved along with it from somewhere else. Oh, you're right!
You can run that mouth of yours all you want. But do you have any evidence to support what's coming out of it, Mr. Wright?
Of course I do. I think the answer lies in that piece of evidence, and in something that was left at the crime scene that will point us to where the victim was really killed. Oh, the flowers, right?
Very well, Mr. Wright. In that case, what proves that the lantern and the body were moved from somewhere else?
Ah, there they are. Those are the flowers.
Take that!
This proves that the murder took place somewhere other than the reception hall.
I'm afraid I can't say that I follow. Fuck.
That piece of evidence won't help you make your point. Why not? It has the flowers. Fuck you.
Pointless piece of evidence from a senseless attorney. Shut up.
Fine, so this piece wasn't convincing enough. Then there must be something else that would be easier for the judge to understand. What proves that the lantern and the body were moved from somewhere else?
I mean, wouldn't it be the hold? The reception?
Nope, that's not it either. Why? What?
Okay. Is there something? Oh my god, it's in the photo. We gotta go here and we gotta present the fucking flowers, don't we? My god.
No, I'm pressing present.
Present the fucking picture.
The photo of the victim again?
Yes.
I like the court to focus on this thing right here.
There we go.
Flower petals, Mr. Wright.
These petals are from a kind of flower that were not present in the reception hall. This means they must have gotten into the lantern when it was somewhere else. And just where do you propose this somewhere else to be, Mr. Wright?
I propose that this piece of evidence will tell us where the flower petals came from.
Now it's the hold. Okay.
Please take a look at the flowers in this picture of the hold. Notice how their petals are of the same shape as the petals in the crime scene photo.
Yes. I see. They do look to be from the same kind of flower.
Objection!
Is that really all you've got? Flower is a flower is a flower. They're all the same.
As if, no. I don't buy this. I don't buy this, as I don't buy that he would call a stepladder a ladder. No way. There is no way.
I would hardly call what you presented compelling evidence.
I'm afraid I couldn't disagree with you more, Mr. Edgeworth. I gave a flower of this type to my lovely wife once when we were young, so I can assure you that this is a very meaningful and compelling evidence indeed. The soundness of my judgment in this matter is backed by nothing less than pure love. But Your Honor.
Let it go, Mr. Edgeworth. It's clear you don't know much about flowers. I'm trying to think back to the second investigations game because that's also kind of heavily centered around the flower. But I don't remember what he said during that. It's not like you have anyone you'd actually give any to after all. But maybe you should study up on them, just in case the opportunity presents itself.
This from the man who only knows the names of 3 types of flowers.
That's hardly relevant to the case at hand. The defense asserts that it's highly probable that the victim was killed in the hold. If the body was then placed in the lantern and moved to the reception hall for some reason. It would completely destroy the prosecution's case. And you mean the body was... Yes, the victim's body was inside the lantern during the entire beautiful wedding reception. You can't even see the lanterns in this. While the defendant and her betrothed were celebrating their love.
What?
Objection!
Your smooth talk might work on his honor, but it won't work on me.
What are you talking about now?
Take another look at all of the evidence and you'll soon see what I mean.
I wish you would just tell me already.
Detective Sky, I'm sure you've already figured out what I'm talking about, correct?
Of course, sir. Mr. Wright is the only one here who hasn't. Why don't you leave this to me, Mr. Edgeworth?
Very well. Let's see what you can do. Detective Sky, please give your testimony to this court.
The victim could not have been killed before the reception. The autopsy report states that the estimated time of death was after the reception. And that estimated time of death is correct. There's no way it could be wrong. It's clear Mr. Gloomsbury was killed after the reception, and that completely contradicts your claim.
I guess so. Tell me you took at least a cursory glance at the autopsy report, Mr. Wright. It appears you've grown rusty since our last outing. Cause of death, cerebral hemorrhage from a strong blow to the head. 1 contusion was found on the back of the head, and 1 on the side. The blows were caused by the same weapon. By some weapon. Might I suggest you go back and brush up on the basics?
Sure, though I must say, you're as cocky as ever, Mr. Edgeworth.
I beg your pardon?
What are you trying to say, Mr. Wright? I'm just saying that I'll go back to the basics, if that's what Mr. Edgeworth wants. I'll prove how badly he's underestimating me with a good old-fashioned cross-examination.
Very well. Let's see you put your money where your mouth is, Mr. Wright.
The victim could not have been killed before the reception. The autopsy report states that the estimated time of death was after the reception. And that estimated time of death is correct. There's no way it could be wrong. Let's press that. Because my mind immediately went to the dry eyes. For this, large amounts of dry ice were placed in the fog machine to produce a thick fog during the reception. But also dry ice, that's... What's it called? I know what it's called. Ooh, okay. Like... It's... Oh my god! My brain doesn't work. Whatever. Moving on. Dry ice. Is that carbon monoxide or dioxide? Because if there's one thing I've learned from watching CSI is that can make your skin turn pink if you're exposed to it for too long. Anyways. And there's also, I guess, if you only die from it. Because it's the monoxide, dioxide poisoning that makes your skin turn pink. Anyways, is it possible that the culprit did something to obscure the real time of death? No, not in this case. There was no snow or anything to keep the body from decomposing. And there's no fridge on that airship big enough to fit a body into. So you've already checked into that, I see. It all comes down to the estimated time of death, doesn't it? Wouldn't the killer mess with the victim's time of death by keeping the body on ice? Yeah, if they had the means to. The prosecution is treating the estimated time of death as an absolute. But is it really? I take it you don't think it is, huh, Nick? In that case, we're going to have to find a way to convince them otherwise. Yeah, there's gotta be a way somehow.
Objection!
Fog machine. I admit that the estimated time of death does contradict my theory. Finally, and that means your theory that the victim was killed before the reception is still entirely plausible. Huh? What makes you think that? The killer could have falsified the time of death by using a certain item in the reception hall. Please take a look at this.
And what is that contraption, Mr. Wright?
It's a fog machine, Your Honor, used to create a special romantic atmosphere in the hall.
And this machine could have been used to falsify the time of death.
Yes, Your Honor, because this machine uses dry ice to perform its magic.
Dry ice? Ah, yes, the super cold stuff commonly used to make theatrical fog, right? I see. So your claim is that this dry ice was used to keep the body cold?
Oh, in that case, I guess the victim could have been killed before the reception.
Order! Order in the court! Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do you have to say about this development?
That the victim was killed in the hold before the wedding reception. The prosecution acknowledges the possibility of this claim. Now we're getting somewhere. The prosecution would also like to thank you, Mr. Wright. Huh? For what? I didn't know a certain piece of evidence fit into this case. How a certain piece of evidence fit into this case, but now, thanks to you, I do. What piece of evidence? To get into the hold, one needs a key card like this one. And here we have a record of those who entered the hold with such key cards. The times aren't specified, but these are the last 3 entries on the day of the murder. And as you can see, the last person to enter the hold that day was the defendant. What?
So the one who moved the body out of the hold must have been...
That's right, it was none other than the defendant. Hey Nick, take a look at this entry record. There are a couple of other names on here besides Ellen's. Dumas, Pierce, and Ellen. It doesn't say when they enter though. Hey, you're right. But also, Pierce entered after Dumas, so why is Ellen the one that's suspected? You're right. According to the entry record, Mr. Edgeworth, Pierce Nickety had also gone into the hold. Isn't it possible that he could have been the culprit?
Objection!
Sorry, but Mr. Nickety was escorting a few of the guests at the time.
I'm sure they would be happy to testify to that fact if you'd like. They can be cocky all you'd like, Mr. Wright, but my confidence is rarely misplaced.
Now then, it's probably safe to assume that after killing the victim in the hold, the defendant moved his body to the hall in order to dispose of it discreetly. What do you mean by discreetly? The defendant volunteered to take care of the reception's cleanup personally. That means she would have had the chance to dispose of anything in any way she wanted, including taking the lantern off the airship without raising any suspicion. Don't tell me you didn't know about Miss Wyatt volunteering for cleanup duty, Mr. Wright.
For my last task as a servant of the Sprocket household, I offer to take on the preparation and cleanup of the reception banquet.
I see. Look at you, sweating buckets like a rookie, even after all these years. Nevertheless, thank you for proving that the only person who could have killed the victim in the hold is Ellen Wyatt. Ah, shit. Great job, Phoenix. Now we're back to square one. Perhaps you should ask Miss Sykes for some help in reviewing Defense for Dummies.
Way to go, sir. You've got Mr. Wright in a cold sweat.
I wonder if maybe the promise of seeing that miserable look on his face is what brought me back to court today. Sure, let's go with that. It certainly made all of my stress and woes as chief prosecutor just melt away.
I guess he had a lot of stress built up.
I'll give him something to stress over before we're through today. Your Honor, the prosecution asks that you render your verdict at this time, before that man over there tries to throw the court into chaos with his meaningless bluffs.
I see. Mr. Wright, are there any last meaningful bluffs you'd like to present to this court?
Why does he have to assume it will be a bluff?
Nick, hurry up and throw a good one out there.
I will. Well, alright then. Let's see. I got it. How do you know it was Miss Wyatt who used her key card? After all, if it turns out that somebody else used her card, it would mean Miss Wyatt didn't do it.
Interesting. And are you able to prove this bluff to be true?
I assure you, I am not bluffing, Your Honor. Well, now what?
Wait a minute, Nick. I can think of a certain somebody who might have used Ellen's key card.
You can?
Remember? The one who was sneaking around the hold in spite of not being a family member.
Oh, that's right. Your Honor, the defense would like to call a certain witness to the stand. I need the testimony of this person who may have entered the hold with Miss Wyatt's card. Larry, get your ass up here.
That's your witness. Are you saying that numbskull was on the airship?
Something tells me that Edgeworth wasn't aware of this.
He never breathed a word about that to me.
This is why. That's not surprising because Mr. Nickety told him to keep quiet about it. But Mr. Butz himself admitted it to me. He claimed to have found a way to sneak into the Flying Chapel's hold to see Miss Wyatt. This photo he took and gave to me is proof.
Then, was it he who moved the lantern with the body inside the reception hall?
You know as well as I that with him, anything is possible. And this is one possibility we should definitely look into.
I can't believe this. What in the world is he doing mixed up in this?
Come on, Mr. Edgeworth. Remember what we've been saying since elementary school?
When something smells, it's usually the butz.
Exactly.
Oh, that Larry. He'll pay for this.
Well, if you want to extract your payment now, he's right up there in the gallery.
Yikes! Bailiff, seize the witness before he makes a run for it.
No! Why does it stuff always happen to me? Sorry, Larry, but you brought this on yourself.
Let us break for a 15-minute recess. I ask that both sides prepare for the next witness's testimony during this time.
Hold on, let me see if there are bad endings for this. I have no idea. I don't think there are. It's usually for like the big ones, you know. Turnabout, time traveler. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. Okay, cool.
Ha! Wow, it's been a while since I've had this much fun and excitement. A face-off against Mr. Edgeworth, a harrowing tightrope walk for the defense.
Whew, I'm exhausted already. Boss. Oh, it's Athena.
Boss! I'm here for moral support.
Athena! Are you all done practicing for Tuesday's magic show?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I sort of ran away. But that's because she was putting my life in danger, I tell you.
I see. I think I need to have a one-on-one with her. You're really athletic and fit, Athena, so Trucy probably thinks she can run you ragged.
That may be true, which is why not even Trucy can keep up with me when I run at full speed. Looks like you spoke too soon, Athena. Never underestimate the resourcefulness of a great magician. Huh? Magical girl Trucy Wright is on the scene. No! Now, Athena, it's time to practice human combustion magic. Go on, douse yourself in this gasoline,
Trucy, no.
But don't worry, it's a magic trick after all, so it's perfectly safe.
Run away!
Hey you! You're not getting off that easily! They get along so well, don't they? It reminds me of the good old days. You, me, and Pearly. Oh, and Detective Gumshoe. Can't forget about him.
I hadn't forgotten about him, but I surely thought the game would have forgotten about him by now.
We had all kinds of fun at the crime scenes back then, remember?
Leaving me to do all the serious investigating, as I recall. We'll soon be back in session, Mr. Wright. Right, thank you.
So Larry's the next witness, right? I can't wait to see what happens.
Sadly, I can already imagine it.
Court will now reconvene.
Nick, Edgy, the two of you are gonna hang me out to dry, aren't you? No, not the both of us, just Mr. Wright. Nick, how could you? I don't really think he did it, of course, but I've got to use whatever leads I can. Mr. Butz, there's a possibility you moved the lantern that had the dead body in it. So if you want to clear yourself of any suspicion, all you have to do is testify.
Now then, your testimony please, witness.
Nick is a jerk face! Oh my god. Larry, please. Nick, you big fat stinking jerk! How can you doubt your best bud? We've known each other since elementary school. Well, get this, pal. Our friendship is over. Thanks, Larry.
Well, go ahead, Mr. Wright. He's all yours.
Why me? You're the one who called him to the stand, so he's your responsibility. Thanks, old chum. Can any of you show me a little respect? Even just a shred?
You may cross-examine the witness, Mr. Wright.
I would, if there were any testimony to cross-examine. Let me just press everything, I guess. Come on, Larry. Can you please give me something real to work with?
You think I don't know about your tricks? If I say something careless, you're gonna show some evidence that made with a loud objection and a super smug look on your face.
Yeah, well, that is my job.
And if I get found guilty, how are you gonna take responsibility for what you've done?
Why should I take responsibility for just doing my job?
You heartless jerk! Don't you have any compassion for me?
How can you doubt your best bud? We've known each other since elementary school.
Hold it!
I'm sorry, Mr. Butz, but if it wasn't Miss Wyatt that entered the hold with that card, then you're the most likely suspect.
Nick, are you seriously doubting the innocence of your old childhood friend?
Well, technically yes, but it isn't personal, I assure you.
Oh, a true friend will believe in me no matter what. Can you see my tears? Don't they mean anything to you? Nick! Nick!
You don't really think you can cry your way out of this, do you?
Okay, fine. In that case...
Our friendship's over, thank you.
Hold it!
Really good testimony right here. Larry, listen to me.
Shut up! I'm not talking to you anymore.
This is getting us nowhere. Come off it, Larry. If you don't quit fooling around and start testifying, Miss Wyatt will be found guilty.
For real?
If no new information comes out of this cross-examination, then yes, Mr. Butz, for real.
Not that I would have a problem with that myself. Larry, just tell us the truth already. Did you or didn't you go into the hold and move a lantern up to the reception hall?
I never moved any bull lantern, I tell ya.
Bull lantern?
What? Did I say something weird?
You told me that you didn't attend the wedding reception.
Can you believe they told me only family and relatives could attend? They wouldn't even let me into the reception hall. Yeah, so what?
And that's odd. No one in this courtroom ever mentioned the sex of the lantern that was moved. So how could you know it was a bull lantern?
You didn't have to actually go to the reception to know that. Anyone could tell there were true Pegapulls by looking at the Flying Chapel's pamphlet.
All I can tell right now is that there's a strong scent of bull in the air in here. But it says Peggy Cow and Peggy Bull. If it said Pegamoo, that would be fine. But he said Peggy Bull specifically. Please add that last statement to your testimony, Mr. Butz.
Anyone could tell there were two Pegapulls by looking at the Flying Chapel's pamphlet.
Objection!
Oh my god. I want you to take a look at this, Mr. Butz. Because unfortunately for you, the pamphlet clearly shows a Pega cow and a Pega bull in their example diagram of the reception hall.
Huh?
But on that day, instead of putting a Pega cow and Pega bull out for the bride and groom, there were true male Pega bulls on display. Yet somehow you knew there were true Pega bulls in the reception hall that day. There's only one way you'd know something like that, Larry. If it was you who moved the Pega bull to the reception hall, wasn't it?
Ah!
No. Larry, you didn't. Mr. Butz, did you move the lantern containing the victim's body to the reception hall?
That's what it looks like. What? Wait, Nick! think I'm the murderer, do you? Maybe you and Mr. Gloomsbury were fighting over Miss Wyatt and you ended up killing him. Oh yeah, not you too. Look, I did sneak into the reception, but that's as far as it went. You know me, I wouldn't hurt a fly.
You snuck into the reception?
Yeah, sure, but some of the Sprocket men caught and locked me up in one of the cabins. It was pretty awful, actually. And that's when I made that drawing of the pterodactyl I showed you, Nick.
Ixnay on the aerodactyl pate, Larry. Mr. Wright, not even you would take this farce that far, would you? We are talking about Larry. What do? Do I accuse Larry of being the true culprit? I mean, I guess I kind of have to. Let me just save. I guess I have no choice but to accuse him. Wait a minute. But Larry didn't have any reason to kill Gloomsbury. No, you're right, Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Butz didn't have a reason to kill Mr. Gloomsbury. Okay, thank you. It did it for me. Thank God. He might have had an imaginary reason to kill Soren Sprocket, sure, but not Mr. Gloomsbury.
After all, he did steal Mr. Sprocket's bride and try to elope with her. Just because I try to steal somebody's bride doesn't make me a murderer.
I believe you, Larry, and I don't think you killed anybody either. You would never do anything like that.
Nick! Oh, buddy, oh, pal! I knew you'd come through for me.
Funny that, considering your sworn testimony just now that we were through. Okay, sorry, I can't read.
Mr. Butz, it's time you told this court the whole truth, understand?
Thank God.
It's just like Nick said, I'm the one who moved the lantern.
Who's G?
I was poking around the reception hall before the main event and saw a lantern was broken. There was a note on it that said, exchange with the one in hold, Ellen. So I decided to do Ellie a favor.
So you switched the lanterns before the reception, did you? Then that means the victim really was killed before the reception.
Hey, I have to leave. A good stream. Thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a good evening. Or day. I don't know. I don't know what time it is for you right now, but I hope you have a good whatever time of the day it is right now. It would appear that Mr. Butz completely fell for the defendant's scheme.
Scheme? What scheme?
This note from the defendant. Exchange with the one in the hold, Ellen. Mr. Butz moved the lantern with the body in it up to the reception hall because of this note, and thus he has become a suspect in Mr. Gloomsbury's murder.
That second lantern did feel pretty heavy. I never would have thought there was a dead body in it.
What was a note like that doing on a lantern in the first place?
You've got it all wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. I left that note for myself. It was simply a reminder because I can be very forgetful.
Objection!
What a sorry excuse, Miss Wyatt. The prosecution contends that this note shows one facet of the defendant's murderous plan. And you, Mr. Butz, you played right into Miss Wyatt's hands.
No way, Edgy. I don't believe it.
Objection!
Do you still really believe Miss Wyatt to be the culprit, Mr. Edgeworth? Of course. My stance on the matter remains unchanged. If you think I'm wrong, then prove it with your cross-examination. Gladly.
Very well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
I am the one that moved the lantern. I was poking around in the reception hall before the main event and saw a lantern was broken.
Hold it!
The lantern you swapped out was a female pegamoo, a peggy cow, right? Yeah, I guess. Why did you replace a female lantern with a male one? Because I was too busy trying not to get caught. I didn't have time to check for little details like that. If you didn't want to get caught, you could have just left well enough alone, you know? Whatever. Anyway, when I took a look at the broken lantern, I saw... There was a note on it that said, exchanged with the one in the hold, Ellen.
Hold it!
That note wasn't addressed to you, was it? Well, I guess not, but how could I let my dear sweet Ellie do all the hard physical labor on her own? It's precisely that thought process that constantly gets you in trouble, Larry. Besides, it was my big chance to show her how much I cared about her. You barely know her. They decided to do Ellie a favor, okay. Knowing Larry, he definitely did something stupid somewhere along the way. Wow, Larry sure is one special guy. Not everyone has the privilege of being this distrusted by their best friends. Assuming he can't be trusted from the get-go usually makes things easier, I've learned. Oh, I see. You totally trust him to be totally untrustworthy. Yeah, I guess that just about sums it up.
Hold it!
Why didn't you tell us that sooner? Because I knew you guys were gonna be suspicious of me, that's why. We're suspicious of you now because you tried to hide it. My thoughts exactly. Well, now I told you. Happy? So how about letting me go? No, not yet. We need you to stick around to sort a few things out. Fine.
Hold it!
I haven't pressed this. Nobody saw you the whole time while you were switching the lanterns. Nope. I didn't get caught. Not that time, anyway. Not that time. Yeah, when I tried to sneak into the reception hall the first time. I didn't have as much luck. The sprocket guy spotted me and nabbed me. Oh, my words are failing me right now. Pretty exciting, don't you think? Larry, you need help. And then they locked me up in one of the cabins. Nick, what are you asking about stuff like this for anyway? Shouldn't you be trying to prove Ellie's innocence? Well, is that statement of his important to the case? I mean, I guess it is. Mr. Butz trying to crash the reception and subsequently getting locked up in a cabin. I believe this might be important facts in this case, Your Honor.
Very well, Mr. Butz, please add that statement into your testimony.
Tried to sneak into the reception hall, but I got caught and locked up in a cabin. What's this? So you got locked up. Then what happened? I broke out. And I started looking for Ellie and wandered into the reception hall again. That's when I saw the broken lantern and replaced it. Even after they caught you and locked you up, you still went looking for Miss Wyatt? But hold on a minute. What is it, Nick? Maya, doesn't something seem weird to you? Larry is saying he replaced the lantern after he broke out of the cabin. That's right. Oh, wait. Huh? You're right. It doesn't make much sense, does it?
Mr. Wright, have you found an inconsistency in the witness's statement?
I guess so? Yes, I believe so, Your Honor. Mr. Butz moved the lantern after he broke out of the cabin, but that contradicts with this. Where the hell is the fucking drawing?
So he first went up to the reception hall, right? And then he got tossed into the cabin. And then he went back up and then he came back down, and this is what it looked like when he came back down? Is that what I'm supposed to gather from this? Hold on, let me cheat a bit. After the ceremony out on the Visidex, Sprocket Aviation's majestic Pegamoo mascots will light up the happy couple from both sides. After the ceremony. Key. A key? I see. What? It was like okay and I see. A key! My god.
Take that!
And in what sense does that piece of evidence contradict with the statement?
It doesn't contradict it at all, does it? It's not? Indeed. Never mind then. Hold on. Where am I actually? I have no fucking clue. Oh, don't mind me, Your Honor. It looks like I just made a tiny mistake, that's all.
Objection!
It's not. Where the fuck am I? I don't know where I am! Hold on. No, of course not. Cross-examination, moving the lantern. Fourth, subjectively favor. It's important. I do that. Did I press it? I don't fucking know. You're asking for a penalty, sure. Thanks for that definitive answer, Your Honor. With a lawyer like you, Mr. Wright, even I feel bad for the defendant. Well, you don't have to feel bad for her for long. I'll get it right next time, you'll see.
Hold it!
You got locked up, and then what happened? I didn't press it. I broke. No, I did! Broke out. That's when I saw the broken lantern and replaced it. Hold on a minute. Oh, okay, wait. This is... No, it's not new. I can skip through it. I can skip through it, so then it's not new. We're supposed to move the lantern after he broke out of the cabin, but that contradicts with this, the broken lantern. Okay, there we go.
Is that?
Yes, it's the broken lantern, Your Honor. Mr. Butz, what you're saying doesn't make any sense at all. What? Why not? You swapped the lanterns before the reception began, right? Yeah, that's what I said, isn't it? But you also said that you swapped the lanterns. Oh, we're almost done here. Cool. I'm gonna end it after this because I'm tired. But you also just said that you swapped the lanterns after you got locked up in a cabin for trying to sneak into the reception. In other words, you're saying you swapped the lanterns both before the reception and after the reception took place.
That certainly doesn't make any sense, does it? Mr. Butz, did you swap the lanterns before or after the reception? Which was it, before or after? There's a world of difference between the two.
Well, Mr. Butz, I guess I can't expect guys like you to understand. In a nutshell, it was both before and after the reception. What?
I tried to sneak into the first reception and got locked up.
The first reception. Uh-oh, I don't like where this is going.
Then, through the power of Ellie's pendant, time got rewound and we went back to the time before the reception. It was after that when I replaced the lantern. So it was both before the reception and after the reception. Get it?
Please. Same.
We went back in time to before the reception. So of course the reception would take place one more time after that, right? That's why what I said makes perfect sense.
Mr. Wright, what in the world is the witness talking about? Has he developed some sort of intellectual ailment I'm not aware of since I saw him last?
Well, none of the sprockets seem to remember the time skip, but I do. And Ellie remembers it too. I think the power of our love for each other made that miracle happen.
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry, but could you please translate this man's gibberish so the rest of us can understand?
So now I have to be the one to explain about the whole time travel thing.
Go on, Nick. I know you can do it. Looks like you don't have much choice, Nick.
To heck with it. I can't lose any more of my dignity today anyway. The defendant, Miss Ellen Wyatt, has told the defense the following strange story. She said that after the reception ended, she was attacked by Mr. Gloomsbury. She claims that, as she was being assaulted, she made a wish upon her pendant. Please take me back to that blissful moment. In doing so, time apparently rewound itself to just before the reception began. What? I know it's hard to believe, but think about it this way. Through the power of the pendant, both Ellen Wyatt and Larry Butz experienced time travel.
What?
Objection!
What absolute rubbish. Mr. Wright, I've heard my fair share of your nonsense over the years, but this takes the cake. Have you thoroughly lost your mind?
Objection!
But this is simply the conclusion I came to, using that logic ability you love so much. The logic ability, please. What? The truth of the matter is, the future president of Sprocket Aviation, Soren Sprocket, has been researching time machines. So what if a time machine has already been successfully created? And what if that's one of Sprocket Aviation's top secret inventions?
A time machine.
Yeah, I even saw something while we were time traveling. I saw a pterodactyl flying through the sky.
I don't remember what it is, but I remember it's not a pterodactyl.
Maybe the airship was set to travel through time for their honeymoon trip.
What? A pterodactyl.
Objection!
You can't possibly have any evidence to back up your ridiculous time travel story.
Well,
As I thought. In any case, I now have the evidence to prove that you're no more intelligent than Larry.
Not so fast now, Edgy. I'm not the same old Larry you used to know.
Oh?
You want evidence? I've got your evidence right here. This is a photo I secretly took of the first reception.
What?
What? Larry, I can't believe you. Well, anyway, good job. If we compare the photos of the first and second receptions, I can find a difference. And we'll be able to prove that the reception was held twice.
But do you really think such a difference exists?
Yes, Your Honor. I just need some time to find it for you.
This is preposterous.
Very well, please show the court what's different then.
This is proof positive that the wedding reception was held twice. Alright, cool. Where the hell is the fucking first one? Oh, this one. Whoa! Whoa, her bouquet! Her bouquet! Her bouquet! Oh, fuck. There we go.
Take that!
Please direct your attention to Miss Wyatt's bouquet of flowers. In the photo one of her in-laws took, the defendant is holding a yellow bouquet. But in the photo Mr. Butz took, she is holding a red bouquet. You're right! That's impossible.
What does this mean?
It means that the defendant really did experience 2 wedding receptions. And she did that when she traveled back through time.
What?
Edgeworth is slowly but surely losing his will to live.
Nick! You did it! You proved Ellen's time travel story to be true!
Yeah, I can hardly believe it myself. It's just as Ellen said, the reception was held twice. And this turns every assumption we've based this trial on upside down.
Objection!
I refuse to accept such a ludicrous argument. It's pure fiction under the guise of pseudoscience at best. There was simply no such thing as time travel. I know it's hard, but can't you suspend your disbelief for 1 nanosecond, Edgeworth?
I bet sci-fi movies push all your buttons the wrong way, don't they, Mr. Edgeworth? I can totally picture you yelling that it never happened every 5 seconds at the screen. Maybe you should stay away from movie dates altogether.
It's neither here nor there. This is real life we're talking about.
But the proof is clearly shown in the 2 photographs.
That's right, Mr. Edgeworth. No matter how inexplicable... Fine, I'll entertain your absurd illusion. If only to demolish it before your very eyes. What? Let's start with this then, shall we? There is one thing your time travel theory fails to explain. And that is the memories of the other guests there. The defendant and Larry remember the reception occurring twice. But no member of the Sprocket family has even mentioned such a thing. That's because the time machine is classified technology. I'm not done, you bird brain. Bird brain? As I was saying, if the entire family had been sworn to secrecy, then why hadn't they sworn the woman who was marrying into the family to secrecy too? That's a good point. Honestly, all it takes is a little common sense, Mr. Wright.
Even still, how do we know that the trip through time did not really occur? There is proof in the photos that it did. And besides, if time travel doesn't exist, well, I'd be a little disappointed, frankly. I was hoping to go back to the days of my youth.
You mustn't allow yourself to be taken in by Mr. Wright's whimsical tales, Your Honor. I've read about it in various literature, you see. And they all say that time travel is just not logically feasible.
Maybe our argument was just a little too nonsensical, Nick.
Well, in that case, why don't we put common sense to the test? Excuse me? The wedding reception was held twice. The photos are proof of that. But it wasn't because of time travel. It's simply because the reception had actually been held twice. Isn't that the most reasonable way to interpret the situation?
Would you care to elaborate, Mr. Wright?
If time travel doesn't exist, then there is only one way to make sense of what happened. Somebody must have orchestrated this strange phenomenon, and that somebody is... the gods. Everyone at the reception. What if all of the guests at the reception conspired together to hold the reception twice and keep quiet about it? What? And for what purpose would they conspire to do such a thing? Well, Who? Brilliant deduction defense. Who? Ah, Pierce. I figured. I can tell that you are not a renowned lawyer for nothing. I must say I underestimated you. How so, Mr. Nickety? You have managed to name each event precisely as they happened. You have revealed it all to the light of day. Then that means it was us. We orchestrated the whole thing. Yes, the reception was held twice, but not because of time travel. No, we simply held it a second time.
What? Why? Why would you do such a thing?
To make it as though the murder Miss Ellen committed never happened. Master Soren figured that if Miss Ellen, who'd killed Gloomsbury after the first reception, experienced the reception one more time, she would think it was all a dream. It was he who ordered us to make it happen. However, only a few, myself included, knew of Miss Ellen's crime.
Are you saying most of the guests attended 2 receptions without knowing why?
Indeed, they needed no reason. Master Soren told them to do it, and do it they did. That is the Sprocket way. Then who hid the body in the lantern? We did. But we did not anticipate the petals finding their way in, nor the actions of Mr. Butz. And that's how you intended to cover the whole situation up. There is just one thing everyone here has wrong. The real scene of the murder was not the hold. It was the Vista deck. What? Then Miss Wyatt's recollection of the events must be correct. Edmund tried to cover this incident up, but the fact that Miss Ellen killed Gloomsbury is undeniable.
This is quite a turn of events.
Now who is this? Edgeworth? And so it appears we have arrived at the truth at last. Now. Please do feel free to travel back in time, Mr. Wright, and attempt to do this trial over again. Go on. Let's not get hasty, Edgeworth. I bet you can't do it. I bet I can't either. Your Honor, we will have to hold a separate trial for the cover-up conspiracy later. But as far as this case goes, I believe we are ready for your ruling.
Objection!
Just before the defendant lost consciousness during her attack, she says she saw someone strike the victim. It's possible that this third party is the true culprit.
Objection!
You still want us to believe the defendant's words. Perhaps you've lost more than your touch during your time abroad. This third person nonsense is nothing but rubbish, and you know it.
Objection!
But by the same token, how can we trust those who conspired and lied to fool this court of law? For all we know, they might still be hiding something.
You never know when to quit, do you? Now, calm down, both of you. In any case, there isn't enough trustworthy information yet for me to render a verdict. I suggest we continue the trial after both sides have investigated the matter further. Very well, Your Honor.
Ugh, that was close.
Mr. Nickety, as for you and your cohort's attempt to cover up this crime, your case will be brought to a separate trial following the resolution of this current one.
Understood, Your Honor.
Well then, this concludes today's trial. Court is adjourned.
To be continued. Sweet. Ah, very short today. But I figured it's better to have a short stream than no stream at all. So, yes, with that, I am going to end this here. I hope to see you again on Thursday when we will continue with this. I'm hoping I'm a bit more awake on Thursday so that hopefully we can do, I want to say like both the next investigation parts because there are 2 of them. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. It depends on how long it takes, you know. But yeah. Anyways, without further ado, hope to see you on Thursday. Hope you have a good night. Bye-bye.